welcome to Emma's Vegan Eating, and today we are going to make seitan, or seitan. I'm honestly never entirely sure how to pronounce that word. But it's an awesome meat substitute, and it actually, in my opinion, it has a pretty good, meaty texture to it. I really like it. We're going to bake ours and not boil ours, because the ones that boil them, I can never make mine not, fluffy. I don't know. So we're baking it. So this is actually, super easy, because all you're going to do is you're going to mix a lot of stuff together, and then you're just going to bake it for, 2 hours. It's super easy and way more simple than that simmering stuff. So, first things first, you need 3 cups of vital wheat gluten. That's right, we're making wheat meat. Alright, and then we need 1/4 cup of nutritional yeast. Said it before and I'll say it again, this stuff is awesome and so versatile. You can use it in so many different ways. I use it all the time. So 1/4 cup nutritional yeast. 1 teaspoon salt. 2 teaspoons paprika. Also, I'm a nerd and I use all these spices so often that I started buying spices in bulk and reusing little jars. It's cheaper, it's better for the environment. So it says 2 teaspoons paprika. Now the meat that I'm making should taste something like beef. I think for the most part, the one thing that would change if you wanted this to taste more like chickeny is to use more of a chicken broth base maybe, or a few different seasonings. You can mess with it as long as you use the initial vital wheat gluten. You can fuck with the season as much as you want. It's not super specific. 2 teaspoons garlic powder. 2 teaspoons thyme. 'So I'm actually messing with my recipe because I normally would call for onion powder, but I forgot to buy it. But instead of that, I'm going to throw some rosemary in. Not that it's going to really substitute the flavor, I just like rosemary. Two teaspoons oregano. I really like to reuse the hot sauce bottles for spices. I just think they look nice and they come out not too fast. And 1 teaspoon pepper. I'm just gonna do this because I don't feel like figuring out how to measure that, because we just have full peppercorn in this house. Alright, and then you're going to whisk all of this together, because you don't want a hunk of your meat that's got seasoning in it and half doesn't. No one wants that. Oh, also in the meantime, you need to have your oven preheated to 350. Okay. So it should be that nice homogeneous mixture. Looks something like this. And now I gotta gotta mix our wet stuff together. So I already have 2.5 cups of veggie broth. I use the Better Than Bouillon. They have a couple different vegan options and they're really good. If you happen to come across the vegan beef one, let me know, because I cannot for the life of me find it anywhere, and it's really disappointing because I love that stuff. All right, 1/4 cup of oil. Just gonna do this. 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. I'm going to use 3 just to give it a bit more color. And also I like the flavor of soy sauce. 2 tablespoons apple cider vinegar. And then we need 1 tablespoon of Dijon mustard. You could also use a tablespoon of tomato paste instead, which I have seen a couple of different vegan restaurants use to make it beefier, but I prefer the mustard flavor myself. Whichever one works for you, as long as you're happy with what you're eating, that's all I care about. Cool. 1 tablespoon of that. And then you're gonna whisk all of the wood shit together. So it almost is the color of gravy. Should almost smell like gravy too, but not. All right. And then you're just going to mix all of this together. Put all of the wet stuff into the dry stuff. And you're just gonna mix it together. So it should eventually start to get a little too thick. Move my peanuts. A little too thick to stir. And that's good. Because that means that it's working. This is gonna feel very similar to when you made bread. When I made that calzone dough or the apple pie dough. So it should be beginning to look a lot like this. And it's a little too big for me to stir now, so I'm just gonna use my hands. Make sure you wash your hands first. You don't want to get dust or whatever else into your stuff that you're eating. And it should start looking kind of elasticy. That is the vital wheat gluten. It's, I don't know the whole science behind this. It's just, from what I understand, which could not be correct. It's normal wheat, but it's got a higher protein, and those proteins stick together to make this. So if you need a gluten-free meal or a gluten-free option, this is not for you, because this is all gluten. This is a ball of gluten and spices. So I just kind of knead all of this shit together. It's actually really fun. If you ever have a bad day, I feel like this is kind of akin to blowing bubbles. You can't knead and stay angry. You can't blow bubbles and stay angry. Alright. Cool. And then it should come out looking like this ball. And now we're going to wrap it up, slap it in the oven. Alright, so now we need to slap this in the oven. So you're gonna get a nice square piece of foil. And you're gonna take this hunk of gluten and you're gonna kind of form it into a nice long shape. cheap thing. Some recipes recommend that you use paper. Can't think of the word. We're gonna use foil to wrap ours up. Make sure it's pretty tight. Make a nice awkward burrito. And put in the seam side down. So it looks like this. And then you're gonna bake it for 2 hours. Do not look at it, do not touch it, do not do anything with this hunk of gluten. You're just gonna put it in the oven at 350 for 2 hours. Then and only then are you allowed to mess with it. I told you, it's super easy. Okay, again, 2 hours, don't fuck with anything, don't touch it, don't check on it unless you like hear a lot of smoke or something weird's happening, but otherwise, leave it alone, alright? Alright, so the timer has gone off. It has been 2 hours. I have not thought about, touched, fucked with anything with the oven, with that seitan. Now we're gonna take it out. Alright, so even more patience, you are going to let it sit until it gets to room temperature. Still do not unwrap, do not pass go, do not cut into this. You're gonna let it sit, get to room temperature, and once it's at room temperature, you're gonna keep it wrapped and put it in the fridge and let it sit overnight. Alright? Don't fuck with it. Tomorrow you can enjoy this beautiful seitan. You can cut up and make wings, you can make it into lunch meat. I found that grilling it on like a cast iron skillet and make it with beans and rice, make a really good burrito. You got lots of options, but you can't eat it tonight.